months ago, I built the Great CEO Within template in Notion that is based on the Great CEO Within by Matt Moshery. That is a book and principles for managing teams for CEOs, in particular when you are building a startup, and the Moshery method. So all credits for the principle to him. And that template has been very successful. So I'm building this template now in Coda as a Coda doc that you can copy and integrate with different packs. That's what this video is about. I'm going to explore the doc and all the features that you can use with your team collaboratively directly in Coda. And the key principle behind building this doc is that it is a system for you to collaborate with people and as a way to manage your projects and knowledge within the company so that you can scale and you have clear processes and mental models around how you collaborate together. Because once those things are set and you have clear processes and systems in the way you think about collaboration, you're then ready to scale your business without having to carry on all the debt that comes from unclear and unstructured processes that also keeps talent away from your company, because talent people want to work in clear environments where they can actually focus on the work that they need to do. So this doc contains a project management system, also with individualized views. It contains a very light CRM to keep track of contacts. It contains a knowledge management system here, a way to run decisions, so making decisions following the rapid framework that you're going to see later, as well as a way to write up and track OKRs, that is objectives and key results, the framework from John Doerr. There are also some analytics, that is some graphs where we can visualize different data from the system for keeping track of the progress on different objects, projects and objectives and key results. And there is also the source, that is all the tables in one single place so that you can easily manage them. And you might lock this page if you are on a Coda team plan to make sure that only some people can edit it, in particular the doc owner and some doc makers. Coda has also the advantage of having an ecosystem of packs that integrate third-party tools into your Coda docs very seamlessly and without the need to use third-party tools to manage the APIs and build your own connections. And that's a very powerful feature and principle within Coda, because here, for example, you might integrate your Google Calendar or Outlook calendar, depending on what suite you use, if any of those, into your Coda doc to directly sync meetings, for example, and then take notes on those meetings. Or you might install a pack for your CRM system that syncs directly with contacts, so you can keep track of meetings with your contacts and take notes, as well as installing the Gmail pack or the Microsoft email pack to connect the bridge between the different tools that you use and the Coda doc, where you can actually manage primarily your projects, your tasks, your objectives, your key results without having to switch context very often. So that's the promise of this doc. And in this video, we are looking at all the components of this doc, how they are structured. We're looking at how you might install packs as well into your Coda doc very easily. Some packs are free, some of them are paid. So depending on the system that you use and the packs that you want to integrate, you might make your decisions accordingly. So I'm going to show you the options, and then once you get the template into your Coda workspace, you can then decide how to proceed, if you want to proceed with integrating third-party tools through Coda packs into the Great CEO Coda doc. The first thing that we're looking in this Coda doc, that is the Great CEO, is the source. And the source is the page that contains all the source tables within the doc. The reason why this page exists is so that you can find the source tables very easily. You know exactly where to go to manage them. If you need to make changes, that's where you go. All of them are here, and then we use views of those tables in the different pages that are the components of the entire system. This doc is meant to use collaboratively, so you might want to consider who are the people responsible for actually managing the source. It is possible to hide this page here from the three dots, although hiding a page in a Coda doc doesn't make it completely disappear for other people. They can still find it. If you are on the team plan, you can lock the page through the locking option right here, but you can select specifically the different controls that you want to give to specific people in your doc. Otherwise, you know that this is here, and there might be one or a few responsible people managing the structural tables. And here there are all the systems that are within the doc. For example, getting things done is the first one, and it is composed primarily from the projects and tasks tables. So getting things done is a popular system for project management, popularized by David Allen. And so the tasks and projects structure of these tables follow the principles from GTD. And there are objectives and key results. These are OKRs, popularized by John Doerr. We'll also find a presentation from John Doerr in here, in the knowledge management element in the doc. And the key tables for managing OKRs are objectives. Each objective will have key results And objectives can be related to areas of responsibility. Key results will have specific individuals assigned to them, and they will drive the progress of objectives. Objectives are then scheduled based on quarters. So an objective might last one quarter or very likely multiple quarters over time. The knowledge management component of the system contains meeting notes, so you can track notes for meetings and decisions made during those meetings. There is a wiki, that is a table of documentation within your company, and a table of contacts. These are individuals in your network that you want to keep track of. If you use a separate CRM system where you have all your contacts and all the data regarding your relationships within that, you may consider syncing that system with this Coda doc so that you don't need to keep a replica of that system in two different tools, which might not be the most effective way to manage information. And finally, there is decision making that is following the RAPID framework popularized by Bain & Company, and you will find details about how to manage it. So let's go through each of these systems here. And before we do that, be aware that each company may have different quarters that they use. So the first thing that you might do, and you will find that in the usage guide as well, and you will find that in the usage guide as well as a step. But the first thing that you might do when copying this doc and making it yours is to set the first quarter start date for you. For many companies, it might be the 1st of January as the Q1 start, but for your company, that might change. And we want to have an easy way to change the quarters start dates if that is your case. So right now you can see the quarters start on the 1st of January, then Q2 is 1st of April, Q3 1st of July, and Q4 1st of October. But if your company starts the quarters, let's say in February, for example, I can set the date to the 1st of February, and that will change all the start dates accordingly, essentially offsetting the start date from 1 month, depending on whatever you choose in here. You can choose whatever month you like, and all the dates will adjust accordingly. All the quarters are pre-populated here. Quarters are mostly used for organizing objectives, so there is not really much action going on here, besides opening a quarter page to see all the objectives that are assigned to that quarter that might be helpful over time to see the progress of that quarter and a snapshot of the situation for each quarter. The Getting Things Done page is the first one here. And this is a team-wide project management dashboard. That means that you will see tasks in here, you will see projects, and that's it. And then there are different dashboards for the other components. You can see here on the right-hand side, there is a navigation menu or outline, as it is called in the Coda doc world. The first view is the tasks inbox. The inbox is meant to be the place where you can see tasks that are unprocessed. So these are the ones that have a blank to do, or without a project start, without a priority, and without an assignee. If there are those tasks lurking around in your system, that means you might want to refine them or decide what to do with them. So those tasks that are unrefined will show up in the inbox so that someone in the team, or then each person that creates those tasks, because there's also a personal dashboard that we're going to see later, can actually refine those tasks and assign the appropriate status or key results or the project, the assignee, and anything needed, so that that task will then flow to the appropriate view in the dashboard and out of the inbox. As you can see now, if I click out, that task was refined, so it is not part of the inbox anymore. In the inbox, you can also quickly create new tasks by clicking on the button here to create a new task that will then show up automatically in the inbox if you want to refine it later. Or you can just refine all the columns and data points right here, right now, so that it flows into the specific views that we want it to be at. On the right-hand side, there are projects to review today. So a principle of the GTD system is to review projects on a regular basis. By default, projects can be reviewed every week as part of your weekly review. And here there are all those projects where the next review date is today. So for example, I know that this project was to be reviewed on the 14th of May. Now if I open it, I can see the start date of this project, the end date, I can see the status, team member, the project owner, task progress. The last review date was the 9th of May with a review frequency of 5 days. So the next review date is on the 14th. That is calculated automatically based on last review date plus number of days of review frequency. So if I've reviewed this project now and I know what's going on here, I can see the tasks inside of it. I can see the meeting notes that have been logged into this project, any documentation related to it that is in the system, and everything is fine. I will then update the date to today. And now when I click out of this view, that project will disappear from the Review Today view. When it comes to the current projects, this view shows all the active projects within the team. So these are team-wide projects that you're working on with the status of in progress. That means in progress blocked. In here, I can see a count of the total active projects that is automatically. So it's a formula, as you can see. And for each project, I can always open the card to see all the details about it, all the meeting notes, all the tasks and their status and the wiki documents in here. There is also a notes section for projects where you can write up whatever needed as notes. For example, this could be used for project updates, where you have simple text that might be frictionless to write project updates so that everyone can be on the same page when they open the project page. On this view and on many other views that we're going to see later, you also have quick filters where you can filter by the project owner. For example, if I want to see only my projects, I can just use this filter. And this quick filter is on a user basis. So if I use this quick filter, that will apply only to my view and not to everyone else's view. So it doesn't disrupt the flow of everyone else and the views of the data of everyone else. That's why it is particularly useful. But if you go to filter and then change the rules within the filter here, that will change the view for everyone. So be aware of that. From here, you can also create new projects by using the new button. If you want to navigate to the source table, you can click on View All Projects, and this will take you directly to the source table within the source page. Now, we are back on the main dashboard of Getting Things Done, and the other views available on the dashboard are the highest priority tasks. Those are the tasks where the priority is P0 or P1, because each task that is displayed in a view here has a priority. And priorities can go from 0, that is the highest priority, to 3, that is the lowest priority. And this view shows only the highest priority tasks, so that these ones are the ones that need action the soonest. This view is a board view. So it's a Kanban board that you can see groups tasks vertically by status. We have to do, doing, done, and then 2 hidden columns that is waiting on and someday maybe, because those tasks currently are inactive. And they are grouped horizontally by project. So this is a swim lane view for tasks. Each project is expandable like this. And when you expand that project toggle, you can then see all the tasks within it. You can also move tasks to done. And when you do that and you click out of it, that task will disappear from the view because we don't want to clutter it. If you want to see all the done tasks, you can always open the source table. And then here you have a group view for all the done tasks. You can also filter easily here by status, and you can see all the other views that are in the source. Other tasks are tasks whose priority is not P0 or P1. So you can always find explanations of the views right below the title so that you know exactly what to expect when looking at that view. And if you want to look at how they are set up technically, you can always open the filter and look at the filter conditions here. Finally, on the Team Getting Things Done dashboard, there is a view of this week's meetings. So these are all the meetings whose date is within this week across the whole team. So you can always open the meeting page by expanding the row here or opening the notes directly. And you can see here there is a date, a duration, a meeting type that you can select here. The lead, the internal participants of the meeting, that is your team members, and the external contacts from the contacts table. If this meeting is not just internal, but it is with your customers, partners, or whoever from externally to your team. When you have a meeting, you can also relate projects to it. If you are discussing a specific project or projects, that's where you select that relation data. And within the notes canvas, there is a template that auto-populates whenever you create a new meeting, and that contains the meeting agenda that you can fill out here, different items, and meeting notes that you can take during the meetings or after the meetings to document what's going on, what went on in the meeting. If there are decisions to be made, those will show up here in the decision-making view. And as per usual, you can always expand the page in full screen to focus on it when you are during the meeting, for example. And then there are all the tasks from the meeting. So if there are tasks coming out of the meeting, that's where you can quickly add them. And then you may refine them later, because if I don't refine this directly right away during the meeting or after the meeting, that will still show up on the Getting Things Done inbox at the very top here. And because I created that task, it will also show up in my Getting Things Done dashboard that is customized for each user to see their data. As you can see here, that task shows up in my dashboard because I created it So if I want, I can refine it from here. And getting my things done follows the same principle from the getting things on dashboard that I showed you. There's an outline, the views are the same, but things are filtered by the user looking at this. So in this case, me, I'm looking only my data. And if you were to use it right now, you would only see your data. So each user sees only their data. And this helps remove all the chaos from the team dashboard and actually focus on working on my task right now. And there's also an additional view that is my top key results. And this view shows the top 5 active key results by deadline. So there's a filter that sets that. It is a formula that we use within the key results table that calculates the top key results sorted by deadline. That means the key results with the status of not done, but the deadline is the soonest. So they're sorting in ascending order, and the top 5 will show up here. They are sorted by deadline, and I can see all of them by opening them. I can see the status, I can see the related objective from here, the type of key result, which is also described here to let you understand. And there's also a presentation from John Doerr explaining OKRs in detail within this document that you can find if you copy it to your own Coda workspace. So in there, you will understand exactly how these things work and how to select the type of the key result, for example, if it is input, if it is output or outcome. For each key result, you will then see the responsible person, all the projects related to it, and all the tasks, because tasks can be related to projects, but sometimes a task might be directly related to a key result as opposed to a project. And that's why we have this option as well within tasks. Although most of the times, tasks will likely be related to projects rather than directly related to key results. And that's the overview of the dashboard for project and task management. Now, on the OKRs dashboard, you can see team-wide objectives and key results. So this is a pretty straightforward dashboard. You can see active objectives down here, where you can see the number of the total active objectives and the percentage of active objectives over the total number of objectives that you have logged into the system. In here, objectives are grouped by status, that is the active statuses, and you can expand each status to see the objective. You can open the objective page to see more details. The progress is based on the key results. The status can be planned, in progress, completely blocked, or reflection. The type of objective, this one as well, will be explained in the documentation from John Doerr. And there's also a clear explanation here when you hover over the informational tooltip. Each objective can be linked to quarters, one or multiple quarters. The current quarter will be in green. Each objective can be linked to an area of responsibility as well, or multiple ones. For example, innovating propulsion and fuel efficiency, I would say this is an engineering and project, for example. And the example data you will find in this doc is for an aerospace company, just to populate the data and see what it looks like. There is an objective description here, and you can then break it down into key results and take notes here freely in the Canvas. You can also use the / command to prompt any command that you want, just like on any Coda page. When it comes to the key results, when you open the key result page here, let's pick the layout. You can see that to track key results, you can give it a grade, that is the progress of the key result, and the self-assessment, that is how easy was it for the responsible person to actually achieve this key result or to make progress on it. Because if the grade is too low, that means the key result might have been too easy. So not enough aspiration, which is an okay characteristic in key results according to John Doerr. The grade instead goes from a scale from 0 to 1, 1 being completely achieved and 0 being completely unachieved. So anything in between is the grade on the key result. Key results must be very measurable. So ideally, they have a clear quantity assigned to them. For example, here, this key result says conduct research and development on new propulsion technologies. So this key result would need a bit more clarifications. And that can be done in the notes section, for example, defining exactly what it means to achieve this key result. What does research and development mean? How much research needs to be done? What is the outcome of that research? So all these things will need to be defined very carefully by the responsible person or by the person setting up this key result in the first place, so that the responsible person will know exactly when this key result is achieved or not achieved, and the grade can reflect that precision. Finally, the active key results view shows all the key results grouped by objective. The knowledge management dashboard shows my documents. These are the documents of the current user looking at this dashboard, and the documents modified this week. These are the wiki documents that were created or modified in the current week, just to see what's going on activity-wise within the company wiki. The wiki is meant to store documentation that is internal, or it could be external content, articles, essays, videos that are useful for you and referenced for everyone in team. So each wiki page is a page that can be expanded, just like this. Each page has an owner, that is the person responsible for managing that page. You can archive a wiki document if that is not relevant anymore. You can assign areas of responsibility, that is, what teams within our company are most interested in this document. And for each project, you can link one or multiple documents from the wiki. If you use Google Drive, Dropbox, or OneDrive to store your documents, you can connect them through the Coda packs for these services. The Google Drive and the Dropbox packs are free. The OneDrive pack is paid, and it is $5 per doc maker per month. So that is a decision that you can make if you use OneDrive. Otherwise, if you use Google Drive and Dropbox file, you can easily connect those services in Coda and then pull the documents from there and link them directly on these columns. Of course, if you use Google Drive and not Dropbox, once you copy your doc and you make it yours, you can always delete the Dropbox column by clicking on it and then delete everywhere, because you will not need it, and vice versa. In the notes section, you might embed any content. When it comes to decision making, there are two main types of decisions. That is, according to Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos, as popularized in his shareholder letter some years ago. Some decisions are type 1 or irreversible. Some decisions are type 2 or two-way doors, reversible decisions. Type 1 decisions can take more time to be made. Type 2 decisions can be made fast because they can be reversed. So the decision-making system in this Coda doc follows those principles to log decisions that need to be made and to assign specific people to roles to make that decision, following the rapid framework. That is, there is a person that recommends the way forward or potential options for making the decision. There is person or people that agree to the different options. There is someone who will perform actions once the decision is made to make the decision come to life and follow to it. There are some people who will provide input on the different options and the decision made to ensure that everything that is under control, all the variables that the humans involved can think of, although there will not be all of them, especially in complex decisions, because decisions are by definition made following the satisfying framework, that is, being okay with an outcome or a certain path, being aware that there are so many other options out there, and that as humans it is impossible to process all of them to make the most rational decision. So there are some trade-offs to be made at some point, and that is okay, particularly when decisions are very complex. And then there is the final person who will actually decide. So who is the final person that makes the call, that actually decides on the way forward on that decision, and that's represented and documented here. So within each decision, you can have a meeting where you can discuss that, or multiple meetings, and that's why you can select all the meetings from the meeting notes table, and then you have the notes canvas where you can write up anything that you need, all the documentation needed, thoughts, the options. You can tag people, leave comments on specific text, and all the collaboration that you need to do, and just like you would in any other document before actually making the decision. The final dashboard in this Coda doc is the analytics dashboard. That's meant to give you an overview of the data in the doc. For example, let's look at some of them, not all of them. Here are objectives status pie chart. That's a pie chart view of objectives by status. For example, I can see here that 40% of our objectives are currently blocked, 20% in reflection stage, and 40% in progress. So if I want to drill down on this data, I can then open the objectives table and look at them to see, for example, how can we unblock these objectives, or do they need to be blocked right now because of some dependency in the system. Another graph, for example, is the number of objectives by quarter. And this graph is currently empty because it uses a join table that is populated automatically via an automation. And currently there is no data because it will start when adding data to the system. You can find the automation for the join table here on the settings icon, automations. There are in fact two automations, and the one that I'm referring to is this one, add rows to quarters objectives join table. What this automation does is it takes the objectives, and for each objective, it gets the quarters related to it. For example, here, there is Q2, Q1, and there might be another one, or it might be just one quarter like in this case, or it might be 2 quarters like in this case. And for each quarter, it iterates through them and adds that data to the quarter's objective join table. Because then for each row in here, there is only one quarter and one objective, so that we can then use this data in the analytics. So it is not that important to understand the logic behind it, but if you are the admin of this doc, then it's definitely beneficial to understand it. To show you how this works, I will go to the objectives. And for example, let's say in here, I'm going to add Q1, maybe Q2 and Q3 as well. Now let's go to the join table here and we'll see it populated for each quarter. Here it is. You can see Q1, Q2, Q3, and the same objective here, the objective status and the area of responsibility. Every time you update an objective quarter, this view will be updated automatically. So if we go back to analytics now, you can see each quarter here and the number of objectives per quarter in a bar chart. Q1, Q2, Q3. Right now there is only one per quarter, but as you add data, this graph will gain more significance. And here you can see, for example, completed tasks by assignee, as well as incomplete tasks by assignee that is stacked based on the status. And this concludes the overview of the Coda doc, the Great CEO, which you can find in the description of this video. In the usage guide, you will find more information about installing packs, what packs you might install in this doc. Some packs I mentioned, like Google Drive and Dropbox. Some other packs that you might install are the Google Calendar pack or the Outlook Calendar pack that you can sync with your meeting notes, for example, to send meetings automatically from your calendar app to the Coda doc and then take notes on those meetings. And that is it for now. For any questions, leave them in the comment or contact me directly by using the form in the description of the video. For now, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.